Welcome to Menopause Moguls podcast, the Elevation Talk series, with yours truly, Dr. Joyelle. I am Dr. Joyelle, the Menopause Mogul, board certified OBGYN and business coach for Black women 40 and over. And my mission is to educate, embolden, and empower Black women and other women of color in their journey through health and careers. This is a space for Black women and other women of color to share their compelling trials and tribulations in their health and or in their careers and businesses. This is where we recognize the humanity of Black women and show how Black women continue to elevate despite midlife challenges and changes. Hello. Welcome back to the Menopause Moguls. How are y'all doing today? So today I wanted to talk about labor pains in menopause and business. Yeah, labor pains in menopause and business. And y'all know that I'm an OBGYN, so we're going to talk about labor today. But before I start, I want to ask a favor. We are embarking on the holidays and then into a new year of 2024, right? And I want to hear from you what topics you would like for me to cover in 2024. Let me know things you want me to talk about, share. I have guests that come in. We can talk about many things in regards to menopause, midlife, and business. So let me know what you all want me to cover as we are approaching 2024. I'm trying to prepare for the new year. I'm trying to be, better in my organization. And sometimes I feel I share things that I think you all would benefit from, but I also want to get feedback from you, and because I don't want to be talking out here and y'all be like, well, I don't really want to hear that today. I ain't really want to hear about that today. So I just want to just be more intentional about serving you all and knowing what you all want to hear as I prepare for providing and creating more content for the new year that's coming. So send me a DM or an IG. I'll put the link in the show notes. You can put a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, put it in the comments. Make sure you make sure you share the episode. If you're listening, write a review. Again, share the episode, all the things, right? And let me know, right? Okay, so got that out of the way. Labor pains in menopause and business. You have to go through labor to navigate through all these changes in the menopausal transition and in entering entrepreneurship. You probably know I am not one who wants to sugarcoat this whole process. I mean, I know I say a lot about the things in regards to the relationship that you have with yourself, going into these transitions, that's important, things like that. But I don't want you to think that this is, all, rainbows and glitter and lavender and everything's just lovely the whole time. And you probably know that, that is not menopause at all, right? That is not the menopause transition at all. And neither is entrepreneurship. There are things that are going to be going on that you're going to be like, what in the world is happening right now? And I am equating it to labor. So I looked up labor, the word labor. And as a noun, the definition is the expenditure of physical or mental effort, especially when difficult. So that's the noun. And then as a verb, to exert one's powers of body or mind, especially with painful or strenuous effort. That is very relatable. As, for me, I can say for the clients that I've worked with, that is very relatable to what we endure as we are navigating through the menopausal transition, as well as building a business in these midlife years. And when you think about labor, I think about my deliveries of my own children, right? I have, those of you who don't know, I have 3 kids. And I was thinking back to my first pregnancy, which was a pretty rough pregnancy. In regards to, there was pain in the first trimester. And then I had preterm labor, preterm contractions, shortened cervix. I had to go on bed rest early in the pregnancy. And it was rough. It was rough. And I'll probably do a different episode just to kind of give more details around that. But the actual labor part, you hear stories of people talk about, tell their children, I went through 12 hours of labor for you to, to deliver you into this world. Like, don't give me no slack. So we tell them that, right? But, I think about the labor process for me in my first, with my first pregnancy. And it was about, I would say, I think it was like 14, 15 hours of labor. And it was not easy, right? I was, trying to hold on and wait as long. I got an epidural. Don't get me wrong. Like, I was not trying to go like all natural. Like, I'm like, give me my epidural. Like, I'm not gonna miss that. I did miss it in my 3rd delivery, and I'll tell you that another time too. But yeah, going through, I think about the contractions, right? That we have with labor, and what the point of the contractions are. The point of the contractions in labor, the relaxing and tightening of the uterine muscle, is to eventually push that baby on down to the vaginal canal so it can come out, right? So that relaxing and tightening of the uterus and the contractions, and thinking about the contractions, those of you who've had babies, if you remember looking at the monitors when you're in the hospital and you see the contractions on the monitor and how they're just, peaks and valleys of, hills and valleys on the monitor. And just having a contraction, what do we tell you when we were having a baby? Breathe through those contractions. And I had to breathe through those contractions. When I felt one coming on, I had to, take long deep breaths, got to the peak. And then as the contraction is kind of going down back into the valley, I was able to, kind of relax. And I also remember in the beginning, like, and I know with a lot of my patients, like, you sometimes hold your breath because it's like the pain is so intense. Like, you holding your breath, like, oh my God. And like, no, breathe. You gotta breathe through those contractions. And then the labor process itself is, again, it can be exhausting, painful. You get thirsty, you get hungry, like all these things that happen in this labor process. And then at the end of it, however way it goes, you get this beautiful baby, right? You birth this beautiful baby. And if you think about that, in regards to the things that we have to go through in order to birth other things outside of us, right? Outside of having children now in these midlife years, other things that we are pregnant with that we want to birth out into the world. And I think about my perimenopause journey, starting, that in my early, 39 into my early 40s. And it was so painful in the sense of just going through all these changes mentally, physically, emotionally. It was exhausting. The night sweats, the irritability. I woke up feeling disgusted because I was soaking wet in my pajamas and the sheets were wet and I smelled bad. And then my mood was just different. This something I wasn't used to. And I was tired or fatigued. And at that point, I was the mom of 3 working in a busy practice. And it was painful. It was the process was painful, right? And once I gathered myself together, right, and figure out what I needed to do, what do I need, what did I need, what do I want in that season of my life, I was able to deliver a book out of that. After I learned what my body needed, my mind needed, my emotions, what that all needed in order for me to feel restored, in order for me to feel more energetic, in order for me to feel more vivacious. Once I learned, after going through the painful parts, right, and learning more things about me, I was able to deliver this book. Those of you who don't know, my book is called Loving Me, Myself, and Her Through Perimenopause and Beyond. You can get it on my website, drjoyelle.com. It's also on Amazon. But I delivered this book because I wanted to now share my experience through this perimenopause journey, share that with other women and encourage them that this is hard, this is not easy, but you can get through it. Like, it's not something that you have to feel like, oh my gosh, like this is how my life is going to end, like in on the struggle bus, like all the damn time. And delivering my book meant so much, not only for my patients and, you know, other women, but for me, in order to provide that guidance for women, especially women who look like me, right? It was just, it was awesome. It was awesome. And I just have so much gratitude around that. But again, just thinking about the labor I had to go through in order to get to that point, right? And then now, after that, wanting to start a business, right? And then and not feeling like I can because I'm busy. I'm working full time in my practice. I have 3 kids that I'm raising. And you know, I'm married, right? But y'all know, like, it's still we've conditioned to do that. We've been conditioned to do this, but we feel like it's all falling on us, right? Like all the things, the doctor's appointments, the homework, the what else? School activities. And yes, my husband, he's an active dad. He's involved in all the things, but it's still like, as moms, we're like, we're still thinking about all the things. Men, they just be like, all right, what do I have to do? All right, I'll do it. It's fine. But we're thinking about all the things all the time, right? And that's just in our nature. But after delivering my book and then now having this, a calling to now build a business, in the midst of all that, I decided to homeschool my 3 kids because at that time, the pandemic was happening. And I decided to homeschool my 3 children. What possessed me to do that? Of course, the pandemic, right? Like, I was like, I'm not putting y'all out here in these streets, in these COVID streets. Like, I don't know what's happening, but y'all gonna be home. Y'all gonna be home with mommy and we gonna figure it out. But I'm like, I ain't no teacher either. Like, how am I do this? I don't know. I don't know. And so it wasn't virtual school. I actually was the teacher. So I went to, I kind of researched different websites and actually got a curriculum that I liked. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And I homeschooled 3 different grades. Who does that? I mean, of course, a lot of women do, a lot of moms do that, but not me. Not me. I'm like, I know, I'm a doctor and I'm smart, right? But I'm like, homeschooling 3 kids, like this is not easy. So there was some labor pains with that too, right? There was a lot of learning for myself, not obviously for my children, but definitely for myself in regards to organizing and trying to give the attention to all 3 children and bringing it all together so we can also learn together. Like it was a lot. But I love that I actually did that. I am grateful that I was actually able to go through that and experience that. But I was definitely ready for them to go back to school the year after. I'm like, okay, I did that. Yay for me. Y'all did well. Going back to school. But out of that, I delivered my business. I delivered my Menopause Moguls program. And again, knowing that, going through the labor of homeschooling and then again figuring out my brain in regards to what I wanted to do to create a business to again serve the women that I wanted to serve, I went through some labor pains in regards to that. And again, more knowing myself in another season of my life, right? And accepting the things that I didn't know and being able to ask for help. Like all of those things, again, was part of the process, a process that was painful at times, that sometimes wasn't as painful, but I got through it, right? And even with homeschooling, again, sometimes it's painful, especially my son. He was kindergarten, right? And that boy he was like resistant to school. He's like, where pre-K? Like I'm coming from pre-K to kindergarten. Like, I just want to play. Like, what are we learning for? I'm like, dude, you are not going back to school embarrassing me. And they talking about you don't know how to read. Like, you need to sit down and read, right? So through that, I did a lot of breathing, right? I did a lot of breathing, a lot of deep breaths to deal with these children. And at the same time, trying to build this business, trying to learn what I wanted to do, how I wanted to show up, what I wanted my brand to look like, all the things, right? But again, going through that labor process, I again did a lot of breathing and a lot more learning about myself and what I wanted and what I needed in that season. And then now most recently, my whole temporary long COVID journey, right? That is a bunch of labor. It continues to be more labor pains. And in regards to what I experienced with that, I would have to definitely, and I've given you all a lot of what I've experienced with my post-COVID journey. With the head tremor, pain, twitches in my arms and legs, headaches, fatigue, and nausea. I mean, I just had a tremor actually this past weekend. I've had more pain most recently. I've had nausea over the last 2 days. So it continues to be a journey, right? But in the throes of in the throes of it, it was exhausting. It was exhausting. And there was many moments where I had to just sit and breathe and just focus on my breath. And at the same time, be grateful. Because it's so hard. So hard. Again, another season that I am trying to learn more about myself. And at the same time, just be grateful for where I am today compared to, what I've been through. So as you can see, it's still a journey. It's still sometimes painful, right? It's still all of that. But I know for sure that I'm going to deliver something after all of this. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, y'all. But I know there is something. There's something coming. Obviously, I'm working on, things with my Menopause Moguls program, so stay tuned for that. I'm working on writing some other things and getting involved in some other projects, and stay tuned for that. So don't worry, I'm gonna share with y'all as things evolve. But I just wanted to let y'all know that when you are going through all of these transitions in these midlife years, and there's so many, right? Obviously the menopausal transition where your mind and body is doing all kinds of things. And that is that, you are like expending energy mentally and physically trying to work through that. And the same goes with building a business in these midlife years when you're managing other things in your life, children, aging parents, your relationship with your partner, your workplace, your career. You're managing a lot of things. And again, like all of these things leading up to the result after the transition, after going through the transition, we have to withstand these labor pains, this process, right? As we're going through these transitions. So just thinking about all that, there's 3 ways in order for us to withstand the labor pains in menopause and business, or the labor process. And number 1 is breathing. Breathing. Now it may sound just simple, right? Just breathe. But if you are used to going, doing, you ain't sitting down to breathe. Obviously you're breathing, right? Yeah, of course you are. You're walking around, you're doing stuff, you're breathing. But I mean, like, truly taking the time to sit down and just breathe. Take breaths and just sit with yourself and just be still. You have to be able to do that because you need those breathers. Just like in the labor process with having contractions, breathing gives oxygen to the baby, right? It gives oxygen to the baby. We tell moms to breathe in labor because that allows oxygen exchange to the baby, which is important, right? The same thing with the thing that you're pregnant with now, your business, your book, whatever that thing is, it needs air. You need to take the time to breathe so you can continue through the labor process, through the painful periods, through the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys that go along with the process. You need to be able to breathe. And it can be 5 minutes, it can be 1 minute, it can be 15 minutes, whatever you need in those moments. Be intentional about just taking some long, deep breaths. So that's number 1. Number 2 is being a lifelong learner, right? And we say, many of us are lifelong learners. Like, we're always trying to learn something new. But I also want you to be aware that you continue to learn about yourself and be open to learning more about yourself and finding the lessons in those moments when it feels daunting, when it feels heavy, when it feels dark. Being open to learning the lesson with that. Because I've found in my journey, whether it's my perimenopause journey, whether it's my now post-COVID journey, there were so many lows and dark hours, dark days, But there was also lessons that I learned about myself and things that I learned in order for me then to move forward and keep going, right? To get back up, even though those moments were low, being able to go back, get back up and know that a mountain or a high was coming. Like it was not going to be like this forever. It wasn't going to be like this forever. And knowing that, and then the process again, learning more about me, learning more about other things that I need to learn in order for me to again just keep going. And then number 3, believe that the process is working for you. Believe that the labor pains, the labor process is working for you and not against you. Because I remember in my journey, as far as even with perimenopause, all these things were happening to me. I'm like, this sucks. This is, ridiculous. Trying to, these symptoms of trying to control my life. I'm trying to do this and do that, take care of these kids and take care of my patients, and everything's just against me, and I can't, I'm not in control. And I had to learn, like, this is not happening to me. It's happening for me. It's not happening to, beat me all the way down and not get back up. It's happening for me. And I had to believe that. And the same with this post-COVID journey. Like I've shared before, like I have been knocked down so low with this whole long COVID business situation. But I had to again learn and activate that muscle of believing that process, this process, these labor pains is working for me. And again, I am grateful for it. It sucked in the middle of it, right? It sucked like I don't know what. Like I can't even I can't even find the words, y'all. Like it's so much. It was so much. But I'm still grateful. I'm still grateful for again learning that my resilience, right? It's something that continues to elevate, right? It continues to be elevated and getting closer to God and knowing that He got me. Like this whole transition, this whole version of me now from where I was before, I'm grateful. I'm grateful because obviously, I can't say like where I would be if that didn't happen. Like I obviously I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know. But I truly believe things happen. There's a purpose in all of it, right? There's a purpose in all of it, and the process is part of it, but the process is not forever, right? Believing that the process is working for you, and at the same time, that process is not forever in regards to the negative, the dark, the heavy moments. All of those things are not forever. There is another side. There is a brighter side, and you can get to the other side, right? You can get to it, but knowing that we're going to encounter labor pains, storms, whatever those things are, knowing that we're going to go through that, and at the same time, it's going to be working for our greater good, right? Knowing that helps us keep moving. Keep moving. We're going to have days when we're not going to move, and that's okay too. I've definitely had those days, right? Like I don't feel like doing nothing. And I'm not doing nothing, and I'm okay. So we have to be able to give ourselves grace, right? Give ourselves grace and just have more compassion for ourselves throughout this whole process. Okay, so again, labor pains and menopause in business, it is part of the process. And obviously, just like delivering a baby, there's different ways to get through that process, right? Get through labor. Some women, sit on the birthing ball. Some women go sit in the tub and in the shower. And the same with our menopausal transitions and in building a business. We all can have different processes and it can look different for us. But again, knowing that there is a process and knowing that the painful points, the painful parts of it is working for us. And again, to be able to withstand all of that, we have to be able to, number one, breathe. We have to be open to, number two, learning in the low moments, learning those lessons. And number three, believing that the process is actually working for you and not against you. So I want to leave you all with this scripture, Romans 8, verse 18, and it says, "For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us." So I can promise you, whatever you are going through, the storms, the bad days, the hard days, there is another side. You will get to the other side. We can give God the glory when we reach the other side because we can't reach it without him. I certainly have not reached all the sides that I've reached thus far without my Lord and Savior. Lord, have mercy. Thank you, Jesus. Don't get me started on that. I'm going to start crying again. So that's what I want to leave y'all with. As women, as Black women, you are amazing. You can do anything, no matter the storm, no matter the labor process, no matter the painful labor pain, the labor pains, you can do anything you are being called to do. But you have to remember to breathe. Be open to learning yourself and believe that the process is working for you. All right, y'all. That's what I have for y'all today. As always, sending love and light. Until next time, remember, comment, share, let me know what you think. I would love to know. And don't forget to also let me know other topics you all want me to cover for 2024. All right. And stay tuned for other things that I'm going to be doing. All right, y'all. Take care.